Welcome to another jam session where I have passionate conversations with the people that excite me. Prior to her recent show in Albion Park, I sat down with singer-songwriter Imogen Clark to speak about her tour and her highly anticipated new record, Collide. Let's stop messing about though and get to my interview with Imogen. You're in the middle of an extensive tour which has you heading up and down the East Coast.
Yes.
How is it going?
It's going fantastically, thank you. We're having a lot of fun and all the shows have been really well received so far. You know, some of them, in fact a lot of them sold out. So we've just finished Queensland and now we're in New South Wales and just doing a bunch of shows and around regional and urban areas. So I'm loving it, having a great time.
In your career so far, you've already achieved quite a bit at a young age.
Thank you.
This is your second album. You've performed alongside Diesel, which you're performing with tonight. Ian Moss, Daryl Braithwaite, and you hit #1 on the CMC charts 3 times.
Thank you.
Have you been able to let that settle in, or has it been a bit of a whirlwind so far?
It's funny, it doesn't really settle in. I don't know if it ever will, because I love what I do and all I want is for my music to reach as many people as I can have it reach and for it to affect them in the same way that music I love affects me. So, when things go #1 or they, you just get such great feedback from people about the music, it feels too good to be true. It's really surreal and I'm just having a fantastic time being able to reach all these people by being on tour and having Universal release my album so they reach more people, and it's just a wonderful thing.
And looking back to when you first picked up the guitar, did you ever think you would be in this place?
No. I really didn't. When I first picked up the guitar, I wasn't even sure that music was something I wanted to do forever. Even when I started playing gigs as a 12, 13-year-old, started, playing professional gigs, just cover music for 3 hours in the corner of a pub somewhere, and I loved that and I loved singing and I loved playing, but it wasn't until I wrote my first song and sung that in public that I actually realised that that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a songwriter, and, it just was the icing on the cake to write your own music,
And now that you are writing more, do you feel you've expanded your repertoire a bit?
Definitely, yes. Just from a lot of meeting a lot of artists and people like Diesel and all these great people I've worked with, that helps me so much to just feel like I learn, more about songwriting and performing, and also just listening to a whole bunch of new music. I love putting on my Spotify shuffle and having it choose music for me, because that's the way I find new music, and that really inspires me and helps me learn. I feel like writing songs, you never get to a point where it's like, I'm done now, I'm the best songwriter, you'll never ever be at that point. No one is. So you always have room to get better. So I love that about it.
And in the past, you've had the chance to sort of work with Casey Chambers as well. Was that a big learning experience?
Yes, absolutely. Casey is a wonderful lady and a really fantastic songwriter. And so working with her, she's just, in my mind, she ticks all the boxes as far as she's such a great performer. She's great with her fans. She's a great songwriter, fantastic singer, obviously. And learning from her, she is really the queen of, although I feel not full on in the country scene, I do fit a little bit into that country area. So, she really is the queen of that country, sort of Australian country scene. And so it's a pleasure to get to work with her.
Yeah, and with this new record, you've sort of tried to expand outside that country scene a little bit more.
Yes.
What made you decide to take that?
It's a weird question. I don't really know exactly when I decided that, but I think it was just the fact that I'd grown up in country and I love country music. There's so much about country music that inspires me, but I just realised that the songs I was writing weren't really full on fitting into the country scene, and I was thinking, I don't know if I belong here, and where do I belong? I don't really belong as a full on rock performer or a folk performer, and I just sort of thought, well, I want to make a crossover record, because that's what my songs are sounding like, and all my favourite artists are crossover artists, like Bruce Springsteen, Tom Petty, Joni Mitchell, they're all crossover. And so I thought, the way to be the best songwriter, I feel, is to have different genres represented in your music. And then, of course, working with Diesel, he is one of those people as well who has all these different genres that he knows about and works with. So he was the perfect person to make my album with me, because he just understood all those different genres.
And how was it working with Diesel on the record?
Fantastic. He's a true legend. As everybody knows, he's a wonderful musician, wonderful singer, wonderful guitarist. But what I don't think as many people know is what a great producer he is. I mean, he's worked with a lot of people, but he's also just got this incredible depth of knowledge about the way sound works and the way instruments work, and you know, everyone knows he can make a guitar sing beautifully, but he's also fantastic on bass, and he's, you know, he did a lot of singing on my record, backing vocals, and you know, he's just a multi-talented person, and having him, you know, in the studio and putting his faith in me was just, it's a very, very wonderful feeling.
And with this being your second record, did you find it an easier process or more difficult because you were pushing those boundaries?
It's funny. I think the first record was it was very much a grassroots project where I went down to my friends Harry and Jack Hookie, their farm down in Gippsland in Victoria, and we just worked in their garage basically and just made this album in about a week's time. And so it was just so, you know, thrown together, and we'll just do this and it'll be fun. And I wasn't even with the label at that point. It was very much like an independent project. So we weren't thinking that much about what was going to come of it. And so when it ended up getting me signed to my record label, it was incredible. It was like, well, Universal wants to sign this album that was made in a garage in a week, you know, with only 3 people as the musicians, and we were so proud of it. And this one was completely different because it was so thought about, really considered. The production values are higher, just being at Diesel's studio and you know, having his wonderful expertise behind it. So it really couldn't have been 2 more opposite recording experiences.
Did you enjoy one more than the other? Or?
I don't think so. You know, they both had their beauty in their own way. You know, like the first one was just like raw and jagged and just like, yeah, we'll do whatever we want. And then the second one was much more thought about, but produced this much more sort of like shiny product that I think was, you know, much more. It still got that rawness to the music side of it, but it was just thought about in the way it was actually created. So I enjoyed them both for completely different reasons.
And in the past, you've said that your new single, Your Anything at All, was written in your head while on stage. Was it just snippets that you had, or did you have like the whole song?
Yes. It's probably bad to say that because people probably think you're supposed to be concentrating when you're singing on stage. But no, it was just, I think it was mostly the first verse and the first kind of lines that came to me because I was singing Hallelujah by Leonard Cohen in a pub, and it was a real kind of a dive bar, and you know, no one was really paying attention. It was when I was sort of first starting out, no one was really paying attention, and you know, people were sort of talking, and it was really drunk, you know, lots of drunk people, and so my mind was wandering a bit, and as I was singing Hallelujah, the lines came into my head, the weary in this bar sing Hallelujah, and then it kind of just went on from there, and I just was kind of feeling a bit disillusioned about it all, but also had this fire in my belly, you know, wanting to send this message to this person. Yeah.
And do moments of inspiration like that happen often, or do you?
Yeah, it's sometimes you'll get heaps in a row and you'll be like, oh, I can't stop writing, and then sometimes you'll have a bit of a dry spell, and it's always scary because you think, oh my god, what if I, you know, am I getting writer's block or something? But I think it's very much about traveling and being on the road that actually makes you feel more inspired. Like I always feel the busier I am, the more song ideas come to me, which is a bit of a pain because you don't have the time to get them out, but it's always, you know, it's always when I'm on tour that I get the most song ideas.
Do you just have a bunch of notes on your phone? Or?
I have one that goes, you can scroll like this for about a minute and it will just keep going. So whenever I'm stuck for ideas, I go back through and I sort of I've also got my voice recordings on my phone where I sing these little like random things into it that if someone else listened to it they'd go, what the hell is that? But it's it gives me an idea of a melody or some sort of hook that I can then come back to and write on later.
And in April you're heading to Sydney for a show at the Basement. Have you been able to sort of think about that show yet, or are you still...
Yeah, I'm thinking about it because I guess because it's most exciting because it's on the day of album release, April 27, which is going to be very fun. But you know, there's so many shows between now and then, so you're always thinking, you know, sort of 1 week ahead or whatever it might be. But that one's definitely probably my favourite. You know, one that I'm most excited about on the list of tour dates. Yeah.
And for anybody that's sort of sitting on the fence, what could they expect from that show?
I think that show is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be the release day of my album. So firstly, we'll be celebrating that, but it's one of Diesel's shows, and that's always a lot of fun. He's an incredible performer. It's just a wonderful chance to, I guess, see the both of us live, because we might not be able to do this forever. And while I'm so happy to be on this tour, you just never know when we'll get the chance to do that again. So it might be a bit of a thing that won't happen, very often. And also, we'll get a chance to collaborate a bit together on stage, which will be great. Yeah.
And looking ahead, what can you see happening for you in the next couple of years? Are you able to even look that far ahead?
Well, yeah, I look that far ahead in that I want to, plan for it as much as I can, and I hope for things, and want to work hard towards those goals. I mean, in the next few years, I really want to be making my third record, which is, I know it's always just early to be thinking about it, but it's never too early in my mind. So I want to be making my third record. I'd like to be touring more internationally. So I'm actually touring Europe in the middle of this year, June, July, Europe and the UK. And I also want to be making more trips over to Nashville, where I've been about 4 times before. And so I think in the next few years, it's really just going to be about touring, releasing new music, or at least making a new record, and just trying to get out there as much as I can with the stuff I'm already doing and is to come. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so
much.
much.
Where can people find you online if they're looking for you?
So you can find me all of the normal retail outlets where you buy albums. You can buy my album from, JB Hi-Fi, Sanity, but also iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify. But if you want to find more info on me, my website is imogenclark.com.au, Facebook, Instagram, all those social media things.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Nice to meet you.
I hope everyone enjoyed my conversation with Imogen. Imogen will be performing in Sydney at the Basement, and I strongly recommend checking it out. If you enjoyed this interview, please subscribe to my channel, share the video, and head on over to jamyapsmedia.com so that I continue to bring you more interviews and reviews in the future. Until then, keep on jamming.